Hello, I'm Lisa Charney, and you're watching Take Notice. Every day, homeless pets are adopted into loving forever homes through the great work at the Peninsula Humane Society and SPCA. The facility has a long tradition of saving at-risk animals. And here to talk to us today about the Peninsula Humane Society and SPCA is Buffy Tarbox-Martin. Thank you so much for joining us today, Buffy.
Thank you, Lisa, for having us. Thank you.
So the Peninsula Humane Society is an open admission shelter. Can you explain what that means?
Yeah, so basically what an open admission shelter is we're the type of shelter that does not discriminate on any type of animal, regardless of age, breed, health condition. You know, some shelters might say, no, we're not going to take reptiles, or we won't take pit bulls. We're not like that. Any animal that comes into our facility, we treat with the utmost care, and we don't turn any animal away in need. And that also includes wildlife. We also treat wildlife at our facility.
I did see on your website, there's so many adorable dogs and cats, but you have a wide variety of other animals that are available for adoption. Can you go into that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times people, when they think of humane societies, they think of just cats and dogs. But at the Peninsula Humane Society and SPCA, we have every possible adoptable animal you can imagine. We recently had a pet tarantula that was up for adoption, you know, which is kind of a very unusual thing that you would see at a humane society. We, of course, have lots of cats, we have lots of dogs, we have reptiles, we have rabbits, we have birds of all different kinds. Any kind of domesticated animal we can probably offer available for adoption.
Are those animals the hardest to adopt out?
Not necessarily, because I think that there are people who are waiting maybe to adopt a ball python, and so they'll be looking, I know it's amazing,
Right.
You know, so they'll be looking at our website and they'll go, oh, Peninsula Humane Society, they have a ball python in, so they'll come in and they'll adopt it. Or they're looking for a certain type of bird, and when that bird becomes available through our shelter, they'll come in and adopt it. The aforementioned tarantula lasted on our adoption floor less than 2 hours because someone had been waiting for an adoptable tarantula, and they came right into our shelter the minute Rosie was her name, became available for adoption.
Oh my, how sweet is that?
Yeah, if you're into tarantulas.
Right. Is there a different process that somebody has to go through to get screened for adopting a different animal other than just a basic cat or dog?
Well, our process is the same. You come in, you do have to fill out an adoption profile because we want to make sure that the match is going to be appropriate. If you're looking at like an exotic animal, we also want to make sure that you have the appropriate setup for that animal, because a tarantula or a snake or a bird is going to have different needs than a cat or a dog. And so we really want to make sure that it's a perfect match. And so when people come in and they might say, like, you know, I'm looking for a certain type of dog, and they tell us a little bit more about their living conditions, if they already have animals, if they have children, and our adoption staff know the personalities of the animals very well, and they might steer that adopter to a different dog that'll say, you know, this dog might be a better fit for you than what you think you're looking for when you first come into our shelter.
So a lot of your staff really does work with people who want to adopt to help find them the best animal for their lifestyle, for their family, their home.
Absolutely. We want to make a forever match. You know, and so that's why it's important for us to learn as much as possible about potential adopters, about where they live, their lifestyle, and what it is that they really want. And we see it happen all the time. People will fall in love with an animal on our website, and they come in and maybe they learn a little bit more about that animal, and they learn, oh, that cat doesn't like other cats. And so they realize, I can't adopt that cat that I've fallen in love with on the website because it's not going to get along with the cat that I have at home. But there are other cats that we can steer that person towards, because again, we want to make a forever match. And so we really do our research, and we really talk to people about our animals, and we get to know those animals. We try to learn everything that we can, including medical history about them, so we know that that animal is going to, what's going to be the best home for them.
The PHS offers a lot of different programs, and I want to touch on a lot of those. I'm really intrigued by the HOPE program. Can you tell us more about that as well?
Yeah, so the HOPE program, this is something that is privately funded through our supporters and our donors. And this is a program that allows us to provide medical or behavior treatment to the animals that come into our shelter. Animals arrive at the Peninsula Humane Society through a variety of ways. Sometimes they're surrendered by owners who can no longer care for them for whatever reason. Oftentimes they're found as strays and that the members of the public bring them in. Other times they are called in as strays or injured animals, and our animal rescue and control staff, and they come and they bring them into our shelter. They sometimes often arrive with medical conditions that need to be treated or behavior conditions that need to be treated. So the HOPE program, through this fund that our very generous supporters provide, allows us to medically and behaviorally treat these animals. On average, we treat animals through the HOPE program about 150 animals per month. So that's about 1,800 animals a year that are given a second chance at life through the HOPE program.
And it's, like you said, privately funded?
It's privately funded, yeah. So as are many of our services at the Peninsula Humane Society, we do have a contract with San Mateo County to provide different services, mostly animal rescue and control services for San Mateo County, but the rest of our money is the rest of our funding all comes through private donations.
How many animals would you say the PHS is housing currently?
I would say right now we're just beginning into our busy season, and busy season means baby season. So we're getting a lot of kittens, we're getting a lot of puppies, and we also have a lot of baby wildlife that comes into our shelter through our wildlife treatment center. And so I would say right now we probably have maybe about 750 animals. So in low, what we would consider low season, which would be the winter time, we might have about 500 animals, but certainly in the summer during the peak, we can reach up to more than 1,000 animals at a time that are receiving any kind of care or treatment through our facility.
Is there a percentage of successful adoptions out of all of those animals that you have on an annual basis?
We generally, and so when we're talking animals, we're also including wildlife, which we do not ever adopt out the wildlife because they're meant to stay wild. But we on average adopt out about 3,600 animals a year. So that's a lot of happy families that we're helping to make.
Yeah, it is. Now the PHS also offers other health services, vaccinations, obedience, microchipping, spay, neutering. Can you expound on what other or those health services that you offer?
Yeah, absolutely. We were one of the first clinics in the nation back in 1972 to offer low-cost spay-neuter programs. And so we still are continuing that. We still have low-cost spay-neuter programs. In fact, we have a free spay-neuter program through our mobile van. It literally is a van. It's a veterinary clinic on wheels that we take throughout San Mateo County and one spot in San Francisco where we provide free spay-neuter. It's on a first-come, first-served basis for dogs and cats for people, because spay-neutering is the most important way to reduce unwanted animals and homeless animals in the population. And so that's one of the services that we provide. We also have vaccination clinics. So the first Wednesday of every month, we have a low-cost vaccination clinic from 6 to 8 p.m. Vaccines are only $15. We have a variety of vaccines. That's everything from canine influenza vaccine to rabies to feline distemper vaccines. And then we also have microchipping. So we have on-demand microchip because we know that microchipping is probably one of the best ways. It's a permanent form of ID. Should you and your pet ever become separated, it's a way that if that pet gets found, that someone can scan it and they can call you up and they can say, hey, Lisa, your cat got out of the house, and you're like, oh no, let me come find the cat, and then you come and you pick it up. Unfortunately, if it doesn't have the microchip, it makes it more difficult for us to reunite animals with their owners. So people can come into either one of our shelters, or one located at 12 Airport Boulevard in San Mateo, or the one on Rollins Road in Burlingame, anytime when we're open, and we can put a microchip in your animal for $30.
Interesting. You also have training, obedience school.
Yeah, we actually have full-time behavior staff, and so our behavior staff works with our shelter animals, helping to get them into tip-top shape and making them more adoptable. But then they also offer low-cost obedience classes for the members of the public. And so if you go to our website, you can see all the different types of classes that we offer. Everything from loose leash training to puppy, kindergarten, if you want to learn more about, how to manage your kind of rambunctious puppy. And so we offer all of these programs several times throughout the year on an ongoing basis for the public.
There's a lot of resources on your website.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody can find answers to almost any question.
It's true, yeah.
Now, can anybody take advantage of these classes, your clinics? So I can bring a pet that I didn't adopt out or didn't save from your shelter to see a vet for a regular vet visit? Does it work that way, or?
We actually don't have a vet. We have full-time veterinarian staff, but they're for our shelter animals. So
Okay.
the only actual veterinarian service that we provide to the public are spay, neutering, the microchipping, and then also our vaccine clinics. So, but we do have resources where we can help refer you to vets throughout, not just San Mateo County, but San Francisco County as well.
I was also happy to see that, you know, as a pet owner myself, I know sometimes I need assistance, and there's a lot of owners that do need assistance. You have pet loss groups,
Yeah.
you have therapy sessions. Can you tell us about that? I found that very interesting.
Yeah, so another one of the services that we provide is we have pet-assisted therapists. And so they're primarily dogs, but we also have one cat that goes to a hospice. He works in the hospice situation. Yoda is his name. And then we also have a pig, and we have a desert tortoise. And what they do is they go to different places to provide what we call pet-assisted therapy, because we know that animals can reduce blood pressure. Animals just in general make people happy. And so we go to a lot of assisted living facilities. We go to a lot of hospitals. We go to hospice situations. We also work with the jails and the prisons, so our animals go and they visit inmates to help provide, you know, just a little bit of tender loving care to the humans. And that's a service that anybody can call, and they can arrange for us to come. Some businesses sometimes call because they might need, you know, some stress reduction within their staff. And so our dogs and our pig and our tortoise, you know, can show up, and so people can learn a little bit more about those animals and the way that animals benefit human health as well. And then we do offer a pet loss support group that meets every single month, and it's free of charge. And these are for people that you know, have either recently lost a pet or still grieving the loss of a pet. We know that pets are beloved members of our family, and sometimes it's difficult, you know, for people to go through that. And so you don't have to go through it alone. You can meet with people who are also, you know, grieving loss of pets through our pet loss support group.
Wow, a lot of resources.
We do.
I mean, you covered a lot. A unique program that I think is wonderful is the TAILS program, TAILS. Explain what that is, because I think it's truly unique.
Yeah, so TAILS stands for Transitioning Animals into Loving Situations. And this is a partnership that we have had since 2009, it's almost 10 years now, with the San Mateo County Sheriff's Department. And what it is we take dogs that need extra TLC, dogs that have some behavior problems, and also some puppies as well, and we pair them up with inmates at the jail in Redwood City, and they work with these inmates for 8 weeks. And so they're basically living with the inmates. They're learning, you know, different behavior issues, how to correct some of the behavior issues. And so it's almost like a very unique foster care situation. And we do this 4 times a year with the Sheriff's Department. So we have a number of dogs that have gone through the program. And then at the end of the 8 weeks, the dogs graduate, and then they go up for adoption at our shelter. And through this program, these dogs have become more adoptable. And it also helps, you know, the inmates as well, because it makes their time more meaningful.
And it probably rehabilitates some inmates as well on a certain level.
Yeah, I mean, you know, there's a potential for some job training skills in there as well. You know, if you're learning, you know, dog behavior, because there's always, you know, places that could use behaviorists for different animals.
Absolutely. Let's talk about the PHS's staff. I know a lot of the staff is volunteers. I know a lot of them are not, but I mean, what wonderful, caring people to be caring for animals that need homes. How many volunteers do you have?
We have 1,400 volunteers.
1,400?
1,400, yeah.
Wow.
So they come in on a daily basis. I mean, we have some volunteers who are retired, and that they do literally come in. It's like a full-time job. They do everything from brushing out the cats, to walking the dogs, to scooping litter, to helping feed baby wildlife, to helping us in the fundraising department, to taking photographs of our animals that we can put on our website. I mean, you know, we could not run without our volunteers, and so they're a vitally important part of the work that we do.
Are you always looking for volunteers?
We are always looking for volunteers.
So how would one go about volunteering? Because what a wonderful job.
Yeah, oh, it's a lot of fun. So it requires a commitment of about 2 to 3 hours a week, so you don't have to do it full time unlike some of our other volunteers. And so we do actually have junior volunteer positions available as well. You have to be at least 13 years old for the junior volunteers. Otherwise, you have to be 18 years old to volunteer for us. So the best thing to do is to just go to our website, look at the different volunteer opportunities we have. Is there a certain animal that you want to work with? Do you really like rabbits? You know, so you can volunteer with our rabbits. Or do you want to maybe volunteer, you know, helping to, you know, some of our accounting needs and things like that in our fundraising department? Or do you want to volunteer at some of our events? Do you want to volunteer walking dogs? So look at what the available opportunities are, and then you just fill out a volunteer application form, and then our staff will get back to you and they'll let you know when the next orientation is. It's actually quite easy and it's very fun.
I bet it is. I bet it's also very rewarding as well.
I think so, yeah, because you get attached to the animals, and everybody's always happy when they see that animal get adopted. And they're a part of that animal getting adopted.
Yes, I'm sure a lot of your volunteers take animals home with them as well. That would be my problem.
And staff as well.
And staff, right, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's great. Buffy, thank you again so much for taking the time and joining us today. And if you're interested in learning more about animals for adoption, ways to volunteer, or how to give to the PHS, please visit their website at thepeninsulahumanesociety.org. Call 650-340-7022 or visit them at 1450 Rollins Road in Burlingame. I'm Lisa Charney. Thank you for tuning in to Take Notice, and have a safe day.